Hey guys, so today we have my first RC boat. It's the Widowmaker 22 by Pro Boat. It's just like the name says, the Widowmaker 22. It's a 22-inch boat. And let's unbox it here. I haven't taken anything out yet, so we'll go ahead and see what's in the box, and you'll see it as I see it. This is the ready-to-run version, and it comes with transmitter and receiver all set up. I would guess in here is my transmitter. And it is. Pretty sure it's 27 megahertz. It's an FM radio. I think it's a 27 megahertz. And nice little stick control. And this boat has a reverse. The ESC in this boat will allow for reverse driving, so you can reverse, which is not in all boats. It's a cool feature, so that's a nice thing to have. And it's the transmitter right there. These look like, this actually looks like it's going to be a stand to hold the boat, and just when you're putting it on display. Kind of packed in here, and these are kind of glued in, so. Very nice looking boat. Has some weight to it, which is actually good for a boat, because you want it to have some weight so it doesn't just get flipped in the water. Feels actually heavier than some of my planes even. It's got a nice weight. It's not super heavy, but it has a nice weight, and the imaging on this looks very nice. Very smooth and clean paint job. Very nice look. Bottom, it's got a 3-tier bottom here, and nice lines on the bottom, which I would guess help it track in the water. Then we have our pre-installed brushless motor and prop back here. And the ESC and the motor are water cooled. I'm not exactly sure how it works because I haven't looked at the insides of this and everything yet, but they are water cooled, so that's a nice feature. Let's see if we can get in here. My desk is a little dirty right now, full of building supplies. So here we have our antenna, which will probably stick somewhere else, or maybe it just stays there, I'm not sure. And then inside of here we have our receiver. It's down here, it's in a bag to keep it waterproof. We have our servo, which, wow, that's a big servo. That is one big servo. It says 16 on it. I don't know if that means it's 16 grams, but that is one big servo. So that's a nice, powerful servo. We have our ESC here, which I'm pretty sure it's kind of, I don't know if it's waterproof, but I think it's water resistant. It's in a hard case, so you can't really see the actual ESC. It's in this hard case. And then this motor. The motor looks huge, but half of that is the water cooling. As you can see, the lines coming in. So water gets actually picked up and run through the motor and the ESC. You can see water cooling lines. I don't know if you can see them in here, but there's water cooling lines also going into the ESC. So water comes up and actually goes through there to help cool down the ESC and the motor while it's running. So that's really neat, helps keep everything cool. And then here's my rudder connected to my servo. And then these side ones are just for stability. Now I've heard some things about this boat, read on forums and looked at videos. Some people say it's a little skippy, it's real easy to flip over. Other people say it drives just great. So some people are saying you just need to redistribute the CG a little bit, the weight a little bit, make sure it's perfect. So we'll take it out, we'll test it, and we'll see how it runs. But great looking boat, I can't wait to try it. The only thing that my version didn't come with was a battery, and I bought a battery. It's charging right now. So that's the Widowmaker 22-inch brushless boat, water cooled engine and ESC, and we'll get it out here and let you guys see it ride. Hey guys, so before we put this boat in the water, I wanted to tell you guys a few more things in case you're looking at getting this boat. A couple important things are, you need to grease your drive shaft. It's called your flex shaft, and it goes through this hole back to the propeller. Now there's two parts you need to grease, and there's a good video that Horizon RC did. I think it's called Maintaining Your RC Boat. You might want to check that out because they go over it in more detail. But basically, you need to pull out this whole shaft that goes up to the motor, and you do so by unscrewing these screws, this collet, and then you have to unscrew this screw, and it's just got a nut on the other side, and then this whole shaft pulls out. You need to line the shaft with marine grease. That helps it not only spin easier, but it also waterproofs the inside by having that any spaces filled up by the grease. That's going to help your drive shaft not corrode and last longer. The other thing you need to do is you need to grease within this tube, because when you pull out the whole shaft, this part is still covered. Now, I don't have the grease gun, so I went ahead and unscrewed this bolt, and then I pulled that out and I greased it. But actually, if you have the grease gun, let me get to the other side. See this hole? This marine grease can come as this tube, or it can come with a grease gun on top. I didn't get that, I should have. But there's a grease gun on top. And if you buy that version of the marine grease, this little hole right here, you can stick the gun up to this hole and just squirt grease into there. Now that's only for this back section. You still have to grease the whole flex shaft, so you still have to take that out. Another thing, on your remote, you're ready to run a remote. There's a dual rate button here. It's a spinny switch, and you should turn that down all the way to the left and test it, and then keep pushing it up. What that's going to do is it's your dual rate for your rudder. So the higher it is, the more your rudder is going to move. And you don't want to flip your boat the first time you drive it, so you should set your dual rate on your controller just a little lower and test it before you get in the water to see how much it moves, and then adjust accordingly as you drive your boat. But just a couple important things to go over before you drive it, so I've gone ahead and done those things, and we'll take it out and see how it goes. Alright guys, so one last video before we go out and drive this. I wanted to show you real quick. We're going to turn on our transmitter here and plug in the battery. Now, after you plug it in, put on the top hatch here, inner hatch. Now this you could seal with some tape or glue, but I don't want to do anything like that. But I've heard people sealing this up a little better so no water can get in. What I've done is you put on the second top hatch here, and it has a, I don't know if you can see this on camera, it has a bolt in the front here, so it's not going to come out of the front. So let me get it in here. Now the back is just magnetic, you see? It's fairly easy to pull up. So what I suggest, using just a little piece of tape, I've got Gorilla Tape here, and just put it on your boat on one side. And that will hold the hatch on. So in case you flip, that'll hold things more together so you're less likely to sink. Now let me show you this dual rate I was talking about. As you can see, when you turn, it turns the rudder, right? If I turn my dual rate all the way down, look at how much the rudder turns. Almost nothing. Turn it all the way up, moves a lot. Okay? So that's what I'm saying with your dual rate. Set it a little bit lower when you first start boating, because that's going to give you less turn, and that's going to make you less likely to flip over. See this? So I'm going to just set it to a medium, right about there. And then when you're in the water, you can adjust it based on how your boat goes, but you want to not flip your boat, so it's good to set that dual rate a little down. You have your trim tabs here, one for your throttle and one for your rudder. And if your rudder's not perfectly straight, you can twist the trim tab to make it straight. So I've got it all ready here, ready to go out, and let's go see it drive. Alright, here we are at the pond. I'm going to show you one last thing on the boat. As you can see here on the rudder, see the tube? This is actually where the water intake is. It's on the rudder. Comes into this hole, goes up through here, goes through the ESC and the motor, and then it comes out the side here. So when I'm driving the boat, you'll see water shooting out of here. You want to see that. That means that the water is going through it properly and cooling it. Now this boat has reverse, like I said. There's lots of weeds or algae here. I'm going to get it a little bit out if I can. Past all this junk. And this boat does have a reverse. I'll show you real quick. Let me get away from the weeds. Alright, so this boat has a reverse here. I'm going to reverse it just a little bit so you can see. Okay. Now let me do a slow pass. Now I don't have a camera girl today, so We're just going to be doing this ourselves. There's no zoom. Okay, now water's coming through. Let me bring it back by. I'm not going full throttle right now. This is barely throttle. See that water coming out of the side? Hope you could see that there. Bring it back around again. It wasn't coming out at the front. The faster you go, the more it's going to come out. So let me bring it back by again. And I'm actually going to zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see it when it comes by here. I know you can't see it right now. See that water coming out? Alright. Let's unzoom and just let you guys see the speed of this. Full throttle. Full throttle. It goes pretty good. Now it's a little skippy in the water, but that's kind of just how it's made and how it's supposed to run. A little bit of wobbles and turns. You want to be careful when you're turning not to flip the boat. That's why you want to set that dual rate on the rudder. Now if you hit it like 75% or 50%, you can drive around at this speed without worrying about tipping too much. This is only about 50% throttle right now. A little bit of a wobble during turns, but not too bad. Let me bring it across the screen here, full speed. Not bad speed at all. I'm running a 7.4 volt LiPo. It's 4200 mAh, 25C. As you can see, it hops, but it doesn't seem to affect the boat too much. It stays pretty stable throughout the hops. You just don't want to turn it very quick when you're hopping. Ride's pretty good. Now the skipping might be able to be fixed a little bit if I change the angle of the propeller. I might be able to lower that skip a little bit with a little bit of rudder work. I mean a little bit of propeller work. Real nice. It looks really good in the water. I love how much water it spits up from the back end. A little bit of wobble there. You got to be careful. If you look like you're wobbling, just let go of the throttle, or at least let it lower. Takes off real nice. It takes a second to get its line and then it just goes. Bring it a little farther out and do a nice high speed into us. Full speed. Goes nice. You can turn it a little bit while you're going quick. Just don't turn it too much. As you saw, I turned there, but not very hard. We'll do the same thing again. Bring it back in at full speed. And I'm turning just a little bit to the left here. That's not full speed right now. Goes nice at 50 to 70% throttle. You can coast around pretty good. Now I do have a little bit of dual rate set up. I don't have full rudder control authority. Hopefully you can see that water spitting out of the side. You want to make sure that's going. If that gets clogged, your electronics could overheat. So make sure that water is coming out. Alright, I don't have much time left. It's been about a 7-minute video. So I'm going to have to stop pretty soon. I've got a 4200 mAh battery. The higher mAh, of course, the longer you're going to run. I usually run this for only about 8 minutes. A little bit of skippy there, you gotta be careful. But it holds its ground pretty good. As you can see, about 70% throttle. I can turn however I want. Don't have to worry about tipping. It's more about 50 probably percent throttle. But it goes real nice at about 50. You can probably give it a little bit more rudder going this slow. Full speed. I'm just going to do another couple full speed passes, then I'm done. Don't want to kill my battery. Alright, let's bring it back for a nice pass. I actually kind of enjoy the skipping. It's kind of fun. Let's do that again. Too bad there's no geese to chase. As you can tell, when I turn sometimes, especially when I'm far away and can't really see the boat, I always slow down a lot. Don't want to tip it. A little bit of a death roll, or death wiggle there. And I know I said one more a minute ago, but it's too much fun. There we go. All right. Show you guys one last time this reverse. Now the reverse kind of turns it, but that's as fast as the reverse goes. It's not a super quick reverse, but it's just good enough for getting offshore. All right, so I'm going to bring this back in. I'm going to do one more high-speed pass.